Hey everybody, welcome back to the Race 5 Smokehouse and Grill. Today we are taking this turkey right out of the bag, getting it trimmed, seasoned up, and cooking it up on the Weber Smokey Mountain. This is going to be one of the easiest whole turkey recipes you're going to find. Let's go! We have a 20-pound bird here and we want to make it as simple as possible on our Weber Smokey Mountain. Let me show you how easy this can be. Let's get this open out of the bag and show you how we're going to trim it up and get it ready. We are going to be spatchcocking this today. And I always like to have these on a tray of some sort. I probably could use a little bit bigger of a pan, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of liquid in here. Gonna make a little bit of a mess. Get that thermometer probe out of there. You're not gonna need that. Trying to take my time here and limit the mess. Let that drain as much as possible. Then we're gonna go discard this now. Got our beautiful bird ready to get into. Start by emptying these insides out and taking this, whatever this is, it holds it in place for you. You know, you're not gonna need that. That should just pop out. So we got this little flapper, taking that off. See about around the neck here. I'm gonna take that skin off as well, because that's gonna give me some access to the breast here in a minute when we start seasoning. Oh, there it is, stuffed in there. And I do save all this stuff. I make stock around this time of the year. I cook a bunch of turkeys, save it, make some great stock. Any extra skin we're gonna get rid of that we don't need. Any of this, I call it flappers, get that out of here. Now this is going to be a spatchcock bird. If you don't know what spatchcock means, that means you take the backbone out of it, flatten it down. That way you lose this cavity. When you have this cavity, it takes a lot longer for the birds to cook. You either have to stuff it or you have this empty void that you're trying to keep heated in there. When you spatchcock it and flatten it out, you take away that gap and you get much more surface area hitting the heat, so this will cook quicker. 20-pound bird here, we're looking 8 to 10 minutes a pound roughly. I think this is probably gonna take 3 to 4 hours. We have our backbone here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut right down the side of each side of it and pop this backbone out. I do recommend a nice heavy-duty pair of kitchen shears. Sometimes these bones could be a little bit strong and tough to get through, but just find a spot right outside there and just start hacking through it. Sometimes turn it around, go from the other side, meet in the middle. Here's one side. Now we just got to get this other side off. There we go. Backbone's out. Again, save that for stock. Gonna get this padded dry in here. Kind of clean this up a little bit since we are leaking. So now we're gonna have to flatten this out. We have a bit of a bone in here. Get yourself a nice heavy knife. I'm using my Kendrick barbecue. This thing is awesome. But you wanna kind of get in there and just give it a good thwack through there. Nice and split open. Flip her open, flip her over. Then just like CPR here, you're gonna push this thing down, crack it open. Now look at how nice and flat this thing lays. And this is what I mean. Now you don't have that internal cavern anymore to worry about having to heat up and keep hot and get all that insides done, because now the insides are just the back of it. So let's flip this over and we're just gonna season this up. Maybe trim off this little loose bits here. All right, that's looking good. Now for our seasonings today, I'm going down with a base layer of Paradise Pepper Company's Money Rub. This is a great all-purpose rub, salt, pepper, garlic, a few other things, but we're gonna hit this liberally in here. Then we're gonna follow it up with some chicken fried barbecue, Texas rib grind. This is gonna add some more flavor, some more color, some of that more peppery look to it. Now this is it for the backside. Let's flip it over, show you how we're gonna deal with the top of it. Because I'm gonna cook this with that bottom side open the whole time. I'm just gonna pat this dry here. And if you have a day or two, this would have been a perfect opportunity to salt brine this. Just hit this with a nice liberal amount of salt on the skin side here. And what that's gonna do is pull moisture out of the skin and give you a more crisp skin when you're cooking it this way. But we're gonna kind of make up for that in a minute here. I'll show you how. Just get that nice and dried off. Now we got all that moisture off, but I am gonna hit it with a little bit of oil here. I'm gonna use some duck fat on here. This is gonna mimic slightly like you're frying it because you have that oil on there, but you need that moisture off in order for that to work. Before I get this season up, next step is we're gonna pull this breast skin up a little bit here. Just kind of pull that membrane off, but you don't wanna perforate the skin. You just wanna kind of open it up, and you'll feel it as it's going. If it starts to get too tight, lay off. But we're gonna throw a few pats of butter down in here. Gonna try to keep that meat as seasoned and as juicy as possible. So we're gonna throw 3 or 4 pats in here. However big your turkey is, that's what you could go with. Get that in there. And then as that melts, that's gonna baste those breasts while it's cooking. And we're really mostly worried about the breast drying out. Those thighs and legs and wings, you're gonna be all good with. But we gotta protect these breasts. Now time to season the top as well. And this top is gonna be our presentation side, so I do like tucking the wings back under. Kind of just have to fiddle a little bit, and then they'll stay back that way. That way, again, your top is gonna look nice and pretty. Sometimes you gotta work it. This is seasoned up, looking and smelling delicious. Let's get over to the Weber Smokey Mountain, get that set up so we can get this bird on. We're gonna let this seasoning set up, start to tack up while we go get that up to temperature, so let's go. We have our Jealous Devil lump charcoal. We have some hunks of pecan wood in here. Let's get this fired up. I always like to throw an extra coal or 2 up there just to make sure we're getting lit up. And we're just gonna let this catch up, and once we get a nice red center and those wax cubes are burnt off, we're gonna go ahead, get this together, and let this come up to temperature. We'll be back when it's up to temp, and time to put the bird on. As this fire's coming up to temperature and getting lit up nicely, I'm gonna talk to you about how I'm gonna control the internal temperature of this and actually the ambient temperature inside the grill. I'm using the Typhur Sync Gold Dual Probe. These are wireless. You stick them into whatever you want to control the temperature. It gives you an internal temp of the protein or casserole, whatever you want to cook, and also an ambient temperature as well. That's the biggest key to making sure your turkey is good, is making sure that it is cooked properly. Do not overcook it. Overcooking it is the #1 way to dry out your breast. We're going to monitor this all along the way with our wireless Typhur probes here. These things are fantastic. If you haven't seen, I did a review on this. If you haven't seen the review, check it out. We'll be back when it's time to throw this onto the grill. Been about 10 minutes, wax cubes have burnt off. We've got a nice little flame, a little red glow. Not sure if you can tell in here from the light that's outside. Trust me, it's ready to go. We're gonna put this back together. And I'm not using the water pan for the Weber Smokey Mountain. I'm only using the fire dial. If you wanna always add a water pan, you get a metal pan, throw some water in there. It's easier to clean up later. Time to go get this turkey onto the grill. Let's go. I'm gonna do a little chef hack here. Just pick this whole thing up. That's why you gotta love those disposable cutting boards. Make everything so much easier. So now we're gonna get this set up how we want it to cook it. And that's it, that's looking ready to go. All I'm gonna do is set up each one of these probes, one in each breast here. You wanna go into the thickest part of the meat. Again, because the breasts are the more prone to drying out, we wanna monitor that. Get that butter moved around. These are looking good. And this is the 22-inch Weber Smokey Mountain, and this is a 20-pound bird, just for you to gauge your size and what you could throw on here. Probably could go a bit bigger too. All right, gonna close this up. Then I'm gonna go into the app and set up the cook on here. So we're gonna go to each probe. You got probe 1, set up cook. We're doing poultry, we're doing turkey, whole, and I'm shooting for 150 for it to give me an alarm. And I'm gonna go back and do the same to probe 2, turkey, whole, and I'm just bringing this down to 150, start. And that's it, it's gonna monitor our cook, it's gonna give us our ambient temp, our internal temp, and we're gonna know when it's time to pull this off. So now it's just time to wait and clean up and let that smoker do its job. We'll be back in a couple hours when we're gonna check on the bird, maybe rotate it, see how it's cooking. Be back in a few. We are 2 hours into this cook now. At 1 hour, I came out, gave the grate a spin, I also hit it with another spray of duck fat. We're using that duck fat to try to help crisp up that skin as much as possible. We've been hovering between about 280 and 310 on this cook, which is perfect. Let's go take a look now 2 hours in. This turkey is looking fantastic. I'm gonna give it another maybe quarter rotate here, just to keep promoting even cooking, but this thing is looking fantastic. I really hope it's coming over on camera here. So we're just gonna close this back down and let that keep rolling until we hit our internal temperature. We have the Typhur set for 150, but I'm really gonna let this go to about 155. Make sure we don't overcook it because we wanna keep it nice and juicy. Then we're gonna let it rest for a bit, then we'll slice into it. We will be back when it's time to pull it off the grill. We're exactly 4 hours in. Our probes are going off, telling us we've reached about 160, 164 internal in the breast. I did stick a temp probe in just now to see where the thigh's at, and we're at about 185, which is perfect for the thighs and legs. Let's get this off so we could rest it for a bit. This bird is looking beautiful. I'm gonna use my pizza peel. Good to use the tools you have on hand. Let's go. Got it off. I'm gonna try to put it in this pan because we are gonna let this rest about 15, 20 minutes. Let that residual cooking that's going on the inside stop. Those temps are gonna keep going up. We're gonna let that stop and start to come back down before we slice into it. Let those juices redistribute. Take our probes out. Try to keep some of those juices in the pan. That's why I'm doing this. All right. Give it a light tint of foil. That's it. We'll be back in about 20 minutes to slice and dig in. The bird has been resting for about 30 minutes. It's still temping in the 150s, which is perfect. Now this bird, good golly, Miss Molly. All right, first thing we're gonna do, and this is pretty easy here, we're taking these legs and thighs off. These should just pull right off like that. Then with these wings, I just kind of like to, little bit of muscle here, kind of crack these out. And then once you find that pop, just go ahead and cut right through it. It's got some good meat in here. The meat falling right off of here. That's gonna be good. So we're gonna take this right off the bone here. You're gonna go right down the middle, right where that breastbone is, and just kind of follow it down. You're gonna hook underneath it. Let that bone guide you as you cut this off. Still have some of that bone in here. Let's get that out of here. Breast number 1. Let's get breast number 2 out of here. Again, you're gonna find that breastbone, just follow it around. I'm just gonna let it guide you where it goes. Got some good meat on here still, get that off. Oh yeah, that's good stuff right here. Now the grain on the turkey breast runs this way, so we're gonna cut against the grain this way. Old school is where you kind of slice it off here, but I'm telling you, if you do it this way, you're never gonna have a dry bird. That is so juicy and tender. Man, it's juicy. That skin is super tender. Get that moisture from that butter in there. Gotta try to get into one of these legs and thighs here as well. These, you like to crack the knuckle in there, get in between them. There you go, you have your thigh, you have your leg, and now you are done, ready to eat your turkey. Man, this stuff is so good. Using direct heat or the fire dial like I did, man, that makes such a big difference. Gives you some extra flavor that you don't normally get with a straight smoke. But this was so juicy and tender still because we nailed the temperature. Make sure you know what temperature you're cooking at and what temperature you are cooking your meat till. That's the most important part to getting a good, juicy turkey. Thank you for checking out the video. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Check me out on social media. If you like what we did here, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I will be talking to you all later. Take care, everybody. Peace.